All right. Well, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking about researching careers and looking for new jobs. And so, how to build some skills around searching for jobs and doing research on new careers. I know, during the pandemic, I know I changed jobs during the pandemic. I was in law enforcement. And during the pandemic, I decided, you know what, like I've always wanted to go to corporate America. Who knows how much time we got? Like, I want to make that jump. And I made the jump to corporate America and have loved it. It's been challenging. I've learned a ton of new skills. And so I would just encourage you guys that if you're in the market or you're thinking about it, we're going to talk about some skills today on how you can look for a better job, find pay, talk about how we can find jobs that are maybe trending and there's an anticipation there's going to be an influx of jobs in a particular industry. So we're going to look at all those different things today and talk about how to research it so that you can make an educated decision when you're talking or thinking about making a job career change. So the first thing I wanted to talk about today is just like what is a job versus a career. I would define a job as something that we do to get money, right? We've all had a job like, you go work at McDonald's or you just do something just to get some money, right? Margaret, your camera is on, by the way. I don't know if you know that. There you go. And so a job is something that you can do for money, right? A career is a specific job or many jobs that you have had in one area for a long time. So careers, they usually require special training or an experience. So you might change jobs multiple times, but still have one career, okay? Like for example, I'll use myself. So I have, I joined the Army when I was 22 years old and I was an intelligence officer. So I was kind of tracking down bad guys and things like that and doing targeting. Once we identified a bad actor, like, let's figure out how to go get them. And so once I got out of the military, then I worked at the Drug Enforcement Administration doing similar work, looking at for like drug dealers. And then after that, I worked in law enforcement for small business fraud. And now, currently in my current position, I'm still doing fraud. So even though I've had many jobs, I have had a career in fraud detection and prevention and enforcement. And so those are all things that can kind of lead to a career. I do have a specialized education, which led to me being able to kind of find my niche in the fraud kind of money laundering space and so forth. So that's an example of a career. So when you begin looking for a new job or want to change careers, it can be helpful to do some research, right? Research involves finding out important information about possible careers to make a decision. And researching careers can help you learn about salary or pay. They call it different things in different places. But researching careers, you can actually find a lot of information online or through networking to understand a salary range that you might be looking at and what jobs are hiring in your community, right? So in certain communities, there might be certain jobs that are, seeing more of an increase, and there might be certain that are seeing less, right? If you live in Las Vegas, there's probably a lot of jobs in the entertainment, the bar industry, music, sports, and things like that, right? Because that's kind of what Las Vegas is about. Maybe not so much, banking and finances where you would see in Los Angeles or New York City, right? Or if you're here in Seattle, you're probably going to have a lot of tech jobs, for instance. And so just a lot of different things to understand when you're thinking about making that career change. So, for example, if you're interested in a career in childcare, but your research shows you that the salary, the pay for childcare workers in your community is lower than expected or even lower than what you need, then you may decide to look for another career. One way to research is by using websites to look for what we call labor market information. So that's labor market information for the career you're interested in. And labor market information for the career, labor market information includes salary, career outlooks, and a career outlook is just information that tells you if the career is expected to hire now or in the future. So if you have kids, for instance, I think this is huge, understanding career outlook. If you have kids that are maybe in middle school or high school right now, or maybe even college, you want to be thinking about steering them in the direction of careers that have a positive outlook, careers that, are, maybe a software engineer or something to do with artificial intelligence or machine learning, all of these technical jobs that are starting to see a huge just increase in jobs because it's new technology and companies want it and they're looking for talented people to do these things. And so these are all things to consider, right? Um, let's see. So other ways to research careers. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right. So here's a couple of ways to research careers right here. So one of the first things you can do is you can do labor market research. We just talked a little bit about that. Labor market research is just finding websites online that can give you information on how much certain jobs are paying. It can also give you information on the outlook on that career. So do they expect it to be an increase in jobs in that particular career field, et cetera. So that's one thing you can do, and we'll look at that today. You can also do network and social media. Obviously, there's things like Facebook. I don't know if you guys have heard of LinkedIn, which is a very popular social media tool for business professionals. And companies look for talent there on LinkedIn. They look to hire people. They're looking for talent. And then also individuals that are looking for employment are looking for those companies, right? So they're looking for companies to hire them. And so you have it going both ways. So LinkedIn is very popular, especially today in today's digital world, because so many companies are willing to hire not local, they're willing to hire for the best talent. So you can, for instance, maybe you live in Dallas, but there's a job opening in Seattle. If you're good and you can do the job and they determine that you can do it from a different state, that's completely feasible that you get a job in a state where you don't work, where you don't live at. I'm sorry, my boss at my current position, I work in the tech industry. My boss is in Dallas, Texas right now, right? I never met her actually in person, okay? And then the last thing here is you can do internet search for companies in your area. So we'll look at all three of these today on how you can do research and find new opportunities. Hopefully they're trending in the direction of like seeing more jobs coming in the near future. Okay. All righty. Let's see. All right, I'm just looking through my notes. Okay, so we're going to start by using a website to find labor market information about a career that can help you find out about the salary range for the career and find out if the career will be hiring now and or in the future. So that would be called, again, the career outlook. Like, is it looking to hire now or in the future? So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a website that I would recommend to anybody that's looking to do this type of work. So I'm just got it bookmarked here. So we're going to go to Career Stop. I'm going to make it a little bigger so you guys can see it. So Career One Stop. So the website here, I'll put it in the chat. So there it is. So careeronestop.org is your source for career exploration, training, and jobs. It's sponsored actually by the U.S. Department of Labor, and they collect information on careers, salaries, what is the perspective for careers going forward in certain areas. And so they have just a wealth of different information here. And so let's see. We're going to, so there's a link here. You see wages. That's essentially the same thing as salary. So it's wanting me to go to a salary finder. Let's see if we can find the salary finder right here in the middle, salary finder. I notice it gives you some options. It says you can search the career by occupation, and you can also search it in your area because a career in one area may make more money in one area than it does in a different area, right? So for instance, if you're a software development engineer in Texas, you probably don't make as much as a software development engineer in San Francisco, because in San Francisco, they know the cost of living is much higher. So they typically will pay higher wages in areas where there's a higher cost of living. Seattle's pretty high, to be honest with you. You know, Seattle's probably top 10 as far as cost of living in the United States. So, you know, wages here are typically pretty good. You know, let's look at, so let's look at a teacher, right? I'm going to put in teacher here, teacher, instructor, other, and I'm going to put in Seattle, Washington. Okay, and I'm going to hit search. Now we have a bar chart here, and it's telling us that, so Seattle's in red, and the United States average is in blue. So let's look at the low. So for a teacher salary in the Seattle-Tacoma area, the low is $39,920. So that's going to be somebody just graduating college, first job. $39,920 is probably where they're going to start, there or about, right? So again, if you're looking to become a teacher and you want to go to school to be a teacher, this is good information to have, right? You can expect to probably start in the range of $39,920. So if that's not going to be enough for you, then maybe you should look at a different career. Now, the United States average starting salary for a teacher is $30,230. Okay, now let's go up to the median. So what is the median, first of all? The median is not the average because, again, like an average is the, you know, let's say you have 100 people that are teachers in the area, right? So you take all of their salaries, you add up all their salaries, you divide it by 100, and that is the average. But if you have one teacher that's making, you know, 30 times what another is, it's going to mess that average up. So it's not going to be a very accurate number or a true reflection. So median is the number that most people are making. So in the Seattle area, the average teacher is making $61,250 a year. Okay. I'm sorry, 65,060 because we're red. So in the United States, the median teacher salary is 61,000. But look at the high. I thought that was interesting. So the high for a teacher in Seattle is 87,710. But the high average for the United States is 102,800. Isn't that interesting, right? So if you want to be a teacher and maximize the amount of money you can make, you actually should probably go to a different city because Seattle doesn't pay their teachers very well, is what that's telling me. Let's try another place. Let's try Miami, Florida. Let's see what they do for teachers there. So Miami, Florida is also really low, okay? The max they pay is 77,720. Let's go to Boston. Boston, Massachusetts. See if they're up there. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Boston, Massachusetts, you have teachers there on the high end making 174 a year. So much, much, much higher than the national average of 102,800. Okay. So this is a really good tool to look at. Let's say we want to do, I'm going to do home health aid. I know there's a lot of folks who work in that area. So let's do that and that's kind of like the nurse, right, that takes care of someone in their home. So in the Seattle area, according to statistics collected by the Department of Labor, which is a federal agency, looks like the low in Seattle is you're going to start at 35,000. The median is 38,000, but the high is only 44. So there's not a lot of room there to grow, right? So if you're brand new in the industry, you make 35,000. If you've been doing it for 10 years, you're only making 44. So not a lot of growth there in that, even if you've been doing it for a long time, to be able to maximize your money-making potential there. So again, if that's not an area that you want to be in because you just don't like these numbers, then probably look at doing something else. Let's say you wanted to go and do something a little bit more like a we'll do a nurse practitioner. Let's look at that. I think that's probably a lot higher, but we'll look at it. So a nurse practitioner that goes to school could start at 109 in Seattle, 135 median, 170 on the high end. Okay. So that is a really cool tool, the Salary Finder here at the Career One Stop. would definitely encourage you guys to, if you're looking at doing something different, to check that out. Okay. Let's see here. Let's look at the fastest growing careers. Actually, you know what I wanted to look at really quick? Yep, fastest growing careers. Now we're looking at Washington State here. So the fastest growing careers in Washington are these here. Rotary drill operator is expected to grow by 100% in the next 10 years between 2020 and 2030. Let's look at what some of these other ones are. Careers with the most openings. Let's look at that one. So let's say you wanted to get in a position that's, there's a ton of openings and you can make good money. Look at this one here in Washington State again. Software development engineer. What is that? That's the person that is writing code to develop new software. So they maybe make websites or they make apps, things like that. So right now in 2020, the last time they surveyed this area, 107,000 people in the Washington area were software development engineers. They expect that to grow by 17,000. There's going to be 17,000 openings, projected in the next handful of years. And look at the potential earnings. You got $4 there, which is the max, by the way. And so that's pretty dang good, I would say. So that would be something that if your kids are young and you're trying to, kind of push them in the direction where they can do better for themselves, a software development engineer, and it tells you exactly what that is right here. And it gives you, all of the information. So in Washington, let's see. Yeah, it looks like, they can start at 83,000 and they can make, if they're on the upper end, 218,000 a year. Okay. I think that's pretty good. And the outlook is pretty good because if we go back, we can see, go back one more. Let's see. Oh, there we go, right there. Yep, so we can see that there's going to be a ton of openings expected for software development engineers. Okay, so great tool here, a lot of information. If you go around, again, you can also filter it by, what kind of education you have. If you have a bachelor's degree or below, you can use these tools over here. You can say, what are the jobs out there for people with a master's degree or people with some high school? So you can click around and you can look. It just gives you an idea of if you're trying to kind of plan your next 5 to 10 years of where you should be starting and where you should be looking, and then the potential of what you could expect to make if you decide to go into that career field. Okay, so that is Careers One Stop. Pretty good tool that I just actually learned about. So I would encourage you to check it out and learn more about that. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to go over to Glassdoor. So glassdoor.com. Another good site that I would recommend for you all. So glassdoor.com. So this is a site where you can, again, get additional information and insight from people that are like literally just filling out, how much that they're making at their companies. And so here at Glassdoor, I can go to Discover Salaries. And I can put in, let's say you're thinking about your son and, hey, you want to decide to get him in the right direction. So you put in software engineer, or let's do software developers, kind of same thing. Seattle, Washington. Hit go, and it's going to pull up some information. So it gives us a lot of really good information here. So it's saying that the total pay for a software development engineer with no experience now is starting at 120,000 a year. Let's say that they had 4 to 6 years experience. Okay, that bumps up to 134,707. An additional pay, they make like 10,000. So the average is making 134,707. On the high end, they're making 166, okay? And then notice over here, it says competent. Now, I want to explain a little bit where Glassdoor gets their information, because I've signed up and I've used Glassdoor. Really great resource, because on Glassdoor, like, so I work at Amazon, right? So if I want to anonymously add my income to Glassdoor, because it helps to help other people that are maybe looking at going to Amazon for a similar job, it's hard to sometimes understand what is available as far as like what you can potentially ask for, right? So when you get an offer from Amazon and they say, hey, we're going to pay you 105 a year, you know if that's a good offer or not. You don't know that unless you have websites like Glassdoor to go check it out. So when you go to Glassdoor, you sign up, it actually asks you to put in your work email address. It sends you an email at your work email, and you verify that you work there. And then you can anonymously enter your salary information. And that, again, that helps Glassdoor to share that information with others that may be looking at the same position, so that now Glassdoor can confidently say, as you can see here on my screen, it says this is a reliable pay estimate. The Glassdoor total pay estimate model returned a reasonable confidence score for this number, but could benefit from more data from users with similar salaries and a job title, employers, locations, and years of experience, right? So again, like let's say you were gonna, you were doing this job and you had some experience, you can help Glassdoor with their information by saying how accurate does 134,707 look, right? High or low, you know? The same type of job, at Google pays up to 272 a year. Okay. And so a lot of different information is out there and available. Okay. Any questions so far, anybody? Okay, sounds good. So again, yes, I use Glassdoor a lot. I would highly recommend that to you guys if you're out there looking. All right, look at this down here, guys. Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Uber. Look at all this, the average pay for a software engineer at those companies. It's in the range of 250,000 a year, depending on where you're at. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And look at all the openings, 9,000 openings, 1,100 openings at Meta. Microsoft has almost 1,000. Google has 1,800. Uber, Oracle. There's just a ton of software development engineers out there, or job openings, which is why, by the way, they get paid so much, because they're very hard to come by and everybody's fighting for those folks' talent. And so those folks typically move around quite a bit because they can move around and get paid a lot. That's what I've started to notice. All right. So the last thing I wanted to share with you guys is LinkedIn. Again, a fantastic resource. This is essentially a digital resume. So I've been on LinkedIn, and this is, going back to our slide we talked about earlier. We talked about you can do labor market research. So we just talked about that and how to do that using the website Career One Stop. You can also, if you're looking to change jobs or change careers, you can network on social media. So I actually had an individual reach out to me the other day, and I'll go ahead and share the message here. And you can see that he reached out. His name's Alex Gutierrez, and he had a similar background as me in law enforcement. And he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, Eric, we don't know each other, but he's on LinkedIn and he's connected to some people that I'm also connected to on LinkedIn." And he said, "Hey, I noticed that you're at Amazon and you used to be a former law enforcement. Hey, can I get on a quick chat with you for 20, 30 minutes? I would love to just pick your brain and understand how your law enforcement career transitioned to being in tech, because he's interested in doing something similar." So we got on a call and I talked to him for probably 20 minutes about my experience of transitioning from law enforcement to tech. And I think he learned a lot from that, right? And I didn't know him before that phone call. He just found me on LinkedIn, right? Somebody that had similar background as him. And that's really important when you are looking to make a career change, is networking and letting people know what you're available to do, right? Like, hey, I'm looking to change, because so many times there's opportunities to do things that maybe you don't know about, but you got to put yourself out there so people can, know that you're looking, and then when they hear about something, they can kind of send it your way, right? I think a lot of people miss that. They kind of apply for a ton of positions from behind a computer, but they don't actually put themselves out and go talk to family members and associates and let people know that they're looking. And so I thought that was really good on his part to reach out and ask, and I was more than willing to help. And I think you'll find the same if you're looking to make a career change, that there's a lot of people that are willing to help you, but you got to put yourself out there and let them know that you're looking. So that is that. So again, here on LinkedIn, you can see I've got my face. So if I just click my profile, there's a lot of great information up here. So this is the link. So this website up here is my LinkedIn. So you can easily go there. Anybody can go there. They can look at my entire profile, and it's essentially, again, a digital version of my resume. So it's got my photo. It has my title right now at my current position and where I'm working at. It shows the school that I went to for college. Also down here, I have links to some cases that I worked. Like I can click here, click there. So anybody, again, that's looking at my profile can see like, oh, this is a case that Eric worked on, and some people got sentenced to jail for bribery. So that is validating my experience with some press releases that have come out, and they're on the internet. So if you have items like that, or you worked on a project, you can link that to your profile also, and it just shows people some of the stuff that you've worked on. And then down here, you can see this is my experience. So under that, you can see that I have, my current position, what I did prior to that, what I did prior to that, and it goes all the way back to like 2008. I'm sorry, 2003. So I've been working for 20 years, and it's all here on my LinkedIn profile. Lastly, it's got my education section that shows degrees, and then licenses and certifications. Now you may be thinking, oh, well, I'm not a working professional, and I don't work in tech, but it's so useful to get on to LinkedIn, because there's a couple things that are going to happen. People that you used to work with are going to find you, and it's so good to network with those people because they already know your work, and they can validate for you. They can say, hey, I just wanted to say that Margaret, I worked with her one time. She's fantastic. And that's exactly what I had down here. I have recommendations. So people that you have worked with can actually give you a recommendation. And so what does that do for a prospective employer is you're getting that third-party validation, right? Because I can write whatever I want on my LinkedIn and say I'm all these great things, and I've done this and I've done that. It's another thing for someone else to write that. And then also when that person writes that, someone can go and click and they can see who it is that gave me that recommendation, right? And so it just validates and shows that you have been out there, you've been working, and now people are verifying the work and the good work that you've been doing. So the recommendation section is one of my favorites right there. Okay, so all of that goes on your LinkedIn profile. And notice over here it says people also viewed. So people that have viewed my profile have also looked at these folks' profiles. And so it starts to run like a algorithm to say, hey, maybe you know these people, because people that looked at your profile also looked at these folks' profile. And a lot of these are people that I do know. I know this guy, I know him, I know him. I know all these guys, all these folks right here on the right. A lot of them are people that I work with, okay? And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that. Again, I am connected with, let's see, I got 437 connections. So these are all people that I work with. Another great part of this is if I end up changing jobs and I don't work at my current employer anymore, I have a way to stay in touch with these people that I'm currently working with, right? How many times have you had a job and you had people that you worked with that you liked, but then when you don't work there anymore, you lose contact with those folks. So LinkedIn gives you an opportunity to continue to network with those people, see what they're doing, because people post on here, what they've been up to at their job. I'm looking for work, or I'm changing jobs. And you keep in touch with those people because, again, maybe you decide one day, you know what, I want to go work with them again at their new company. And you reach out to them through LinkedIn and you set up an interview, right? So there's just a lot of good things that you can do in LinkedIn. And so that again is like the couple things I really wanted to share with you guys today is that there's a lot of resources out there if you're looking to change jobs or do things differently. You just got to really take some time, set up a LinkedIn profile. Setting up a LinkedIn profile, it will take you probably 2 hours or so because it is a laborious process. You're adding all of your resume information, your photo, you're adding your experience, your educations, your certifications. So it does take a little bit of time to do that. But again, it's completely worth it, you guys, when you have it done, and then you can just move on, and now it's set up, and then people can start finding you. Okay. So I would highly recommend that you guys set up a LinkedIn profile. Do know that there is, and by the way, LinkedIn is free. There is a premium version that they offer. The premium version, you actually can see who's been looking at your profile. So it'll say, hey, these 5 people looked at your profile last week. And then it's just interesting to sometimes see who's looking at your profile and so forth, right? I'm going to go ahead and like this gal's. She looks like she's happy to share that today was her first day at a new job as a corporate risk analyst for Acme Brick, a Berkshire Hathaway subsidiary. So yeah, and I used to work with her. She's changed jobs twice since I worked with her. And so again, I can see a lot of the people that I've worked with on here and what they've been up to. Okay, does anybody got any questions for me about anything we covered? That's pretty much it for today. Just want to share a couple resources. We talked a little bit about Career One, which is a place where you can find jobs in your area, kind of the average pay, and then what is the outlook for those jobs. We looked at LinkedIn and talked about setting that up and networking there. And we also talked about using Glassdoor to figure out what is the actual salary range for various positions in your area. Any questions? Okay, sounds good. Well, we'll end a little bit early today. Thank you guys for jumping on. We've got about 4 more classes. If there's anything you would like to see, feel free to just let me know at the next class, like what you would like to get training on. But we do got about 4 more classes. This training will be going through the end of June. All right, and then hopefully we get an extension maybe later in the year is what it's potentially looking like. We're waiting to find out on that. So thank you guys for joining, y'all. Have a great afternoon and evening. See you guys next time.